Hello, I'm Tim Loughton, and I have just come from the Education Secretary's office, Damain Hinds, with a delegation of West Sussex MPs to go and lobby the relatively new Education Secretary about the funding situation in West Sussex schools, which is something that we have all been banging on about now for the last few years. We made the case to the new Secretary of State very clearly that West Sussex has been at the bottom of the funding pile for too many years, and we are absolutely seeing the effects of that in our schools and have done over the last year. It's really good that the government have come up with a new funding formula. It's really good that the government has found an additional £1.3 billion for our schools, and 28 million of that has come directly into West Sussex schools. And the figures which have just been calculated will show that many of the schools in my constituency and across West Sussex will be benefiting from additional cash over the next couple of years. In some cases, that is a double-digit increase in cash, and this is real terms increase in cash as well. But still, the funding formula leaves too great a gap between what our schools get in West Sussex and what many schools get in metropolitan areas, particularly London. And we've asked him to look again at how that formula can further be improved to make sure there is not such a gap. There always will be a gap because of the deprivation factors, English as a second language, etc., in many urban areas compared to Sussex, but that gap is too large. We also specifically took up the issue of special schools. We have some really fantastic special schools in West Sussex. We have Heronsdale, we have Oak Grove locally. They're not part of that change to the funding formula, and they are facing some very serious funding challenges. And I have met local heads, we've had them up to London, I've spoken to teachers and parents, and we need to do something rather more urgently to make sure they do have the resources to carry on with the really incredible job they do with some of our disabled pupils. We were very clear that a lot has been done. West Sussex schools will be benefiting from that additional cash, but we're not there yet. And there is also an issue which we've asked for further discussions with the department on, and that's school standards. Frankly, standards in schools in West Sussex are not nearly good enough. They should be a lot higher, particularly at Key Stage 2 and so on. And although we need to get better funding, we also need to get better standards for our kids. I know what the parents in my constituency are most concerned about. That's making sure that schools are giving the skills and the qualifications and the care to our children to make sure they come out of those schools armed with those qualifications and the skills and the talents that they need to set them up for life. And standards need to improve as well. I'm going to be getting together with all the governors, chairs of governors of schools across my constituency, just as I did with all the heads I invited to come and meet me for a roundtable last year. I'm now going to be doing the same with governors and to get specific examples of still what pressures we are facing, but also to see what benefits the additional money has brought, and to make sure that we are getting a fairer share of that cake. And this campaign continues, and today was an important meeting to show that our determination to get a much fairer deal for our kids in West Sussex has not diminished, and the fight does continue.